These dogs lived in the mud and feces of a backyard in East Vancouver, Canada for 3 years, where their scant food was thrown on the ground, and water was often only what rainwater they could find. Over the years, many litters of pups were born. The puppies who survived were sold, but many didn't survive. Year after year, the SPCA was called by the distraught next-door neighbor, but nothing ever changed, and this horrible cruelty was allowed to go on. One Sunday, the female gave birth again, frantically dropping the newborns just anywhere on the ground. The neighbor called the SPCA emergency line. He was told that what he described wasn't an emergency. He cried and begged, but was hung up on. The pups could have been seized by the SPCA and charges laid against the owner. Because the pups were being allowed to die inhumanely, this was a chargeable offence under the BC Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act of allowing critical distress. The SPCA could have seized the pups immediately because no warrant has to be obtained when an animal is in critical distress. But it's a good thing for Danny and Jasmine and the pups that the SPCA displayed its usual callous indifference to them. Because if the dogs had been seized by the SPCA, they would without any doubt have been killed immediately. At that time, because of the SPCA's huge and lucrative animal disposal contracting business, paid for by jurisdictions all over BC and worth $5 million a year, the SPCA was killing as many as 75,000 pets a year, a figure given by one of the BC SPCA's own directors. And that figure may not have included all the small pets, such as rabbits and hamsters. Healthy puppies were killed by the boxload, sometimes in ways that most people would think couldn't happen in Canada. Then Animal Advocates of Society of BC was called by the neighbor, who was choking in tears when he described to us what was happening next door. The 2 dogs, who we later named Danny and Jasmine, and the 4 surviving pups, cold and just barely alive, were rescued and quickly taken to our vet, where the pups were submerged in warm water right up to their wee noses. After 20 minutes, their temperatures were at last normal. Then everyone was examined by our vet, fed and tucked in for the night. Jasmine was little better than feral because she had seldom been touched by a human, but after a long rehabilitation in a foster home, she recovered, and she and her pups were found good homes. Danny, the big male dog, took several years to get over his guarding instincts, but he too found a safe and loving home where he lived a fun-filled and a long, happy life.
Oni tam widzisz mają tych. Oni jak ty pogadali.